Welcome to Soul Stories, where every tale touches the heart and inspires the soul. Lena sat at the corner table of the little cafe, the kind that smelled faintly of roasted beans and fresh pastries. The soft hum of jazz drifted from an old speaker in the corner, blending with the gentle chatter of other customers. She traced her finger around the rim of her coffee cup, watching the thin trail of steam rise and disappear, much like her excitement had since she'd walked in. Her best friend Mia had been so sure this would be different. "You need to get out there, Lena." "He's perfect for you. Kind, responsible, a little shy maybe, but totally your type." Mia had even picked out the cafe, sent her reminders, and texted half an hour before the date started. "Don't back out, okay? Just give it a chance." And Lena had listened. She'd taken extra time getting ready, nothing over the top, but enough to feel like herself again. A soft blue dress, her favorite silver earrings, and a touch of lip gloss. She'd even convinced herself to smile as she entered, heart fluttering with that tiny spark of hope she didn't want to admit still existed. But now, 30 long minutes later, that hope was cooling faster than her untouched coffee. Every time the bell above the door jingled, she'd glance up, her breath catching, only to watch another couple enter, laughing, holding hands. Her table, set for two, remained stubbornly empty. The waiter came by with a polite, practiced smile. "Would you like me to warm that up for you, miss?" She hesitated before nodding. "Sure, thank you." He took her cup, and as he walked away, Lena exhaled slowly. She wasn't angry, not really. Just tired of being disappointed. Tired of giving people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe dating wasn't for her after all. She looked out the window beside her, where the city lights blurred into streaks of gold and red from passing cars. The world outside seemed to move forward, people living, laughing, loving, while she sat still, waiting for someone who probably wasn't coming. Her phone buzzed. A message from Mia. "How's it going?" Did he show up yet? Lena stared at the screen for a moment before typing back, "Not yet." Then she added a small heart emoji, trying to sound less disappointed than she felt. She set her phone face down, took a deep breath, and decided she'd give it 5 more minutes. Just 5, then she'd leave, call it a night, and go home to her cat and a good book. But somewhere, quietly, beneath the layers of resignation, a faint whisper of hope still lingered. What if, just maybe, he did show up? Just as Lena reached for her purse, ready to escape the weight of waiting, the soft chime of the cafe door rang behind her. She didn't look up at first. She'd done that too many times already. But then she heard something different from the usual chatter and footsteps. Laughter. Not the deep, confident kind of a man arriving late to a date, but the light, musical giggle of children. 3 little girls, no older than 6, burst through the door like a small whirlwind of sunshine on a rainy day. They wore matching pastel coats and tiny boots that squeaked on the tiled floor. Their hair was tied in uneven ponytails, and each carried something small, a teddy bear, a pink ribbon, and what looked like a crayon drawing folded in half. They paused at the entrance, scanning the cafe with bright, curious eyes, and before Lena could even process what was happening, they marched right up to her table. One of them, the one with 2 pink ribbons bouncing on her braids, stepped forward and grinned up at her. "Our daddy's sorry he's late," she announced proudly, as though delivering royal news. Lena blinked, unsure she'd heard right. Excuse me?" she stammered. The girls all nodded in unison, their faces glowing with excitement. The smallest one, clutching her teddy close, piped up, "He said we had to hurry." "He's coming." Lena froze. Her eyes darted toward the door, heart skipping. Was this some kind of prank, or had they mistaken her for someone else? The waiter paused mid-step nearby, raising an amused brow. A few customers chuckled quietly, watching the unexpected scene unfold. Lena could feel her cheeks warming as she leaned forward, trying to find words that didn't sound awkward. "Sweethearts, are you sure?" But before she could finish, the girls started pulling out the empty chair across from her. "Daddy said this is the one," the middle one chirped. Lena laughed despite her confusion, a nervous, uncertain sound. "Oh, really?" she managed, watching them climb into chairs far too big for them. They began talking all at once, about how they loved hot chocolate, how one of them lost a shoe in the car, and how Daddy said she looked pretty. That last line made Lena's breath hitch. She turned toward the door as the cafe chime jingled again, and there he was, a tall man, slightly out of breath, holding a bouquet of daisies in one hand and an apologetic smile on his face. The triplets squealed, "Daddy!" in perfect unison, and as Lena's eyes met his, everything around her seemed to pause. The laughter, the noise, the waiting. All of it faded into something softer, something new. The door chimed again, and every sound in the cafe seemed to fade for a heartbeat. Through the swirl of cool evening air stepped a tall man, his dark coat dusted with faint raindrops, a small bouquet of daisies clutched awkwardly in one hand. His hair was slightly messy as if he'd rushed here, and his chest rose and fell with uneven breaths. But even in that hurried state, there was something gentle about him, something that made Lena's pulse slow and her thoughts stumble. The three little girls lit up instantly. "Daddy!" They squealed in perfect unison, running to him with arms wide. He crouched down to their level, the tension in his shoulders melting away as he hugged them all close. Hey, careful." He laughed softly, his voice warm, rich, the kind that made people want to listen. "I told you to wait by the table, didn't I?" "But she was right there," one of them insisted, pointing at Lena with the confidence only a child could have. He followed the direction of her tiny finger, and when his gaze finally met Lena's, his breath hitched. "Hi, I'm Ethan," he said, his voice a little sheepish now. "I'm so sorry I'm late. My babysitter canceled last minute and, well..." He gestured helplessly toward the three little ones peeking out from behind his legs like mischievous shadows. "So I brought my chaos with me." Lena blinked, then let out a soft laugh that eased the stiffness in the air. "So this is the surprise?" she teased gently. Ethan rubbed the back of his neck, grinning with embarrassment. "Yeah, they, come with me. It's a package deal." The girls giggled, clearly proud to be included in the introduction. One of them whispered loudly, "We told her you were coming." Lena's laughter deepened, the awkwardness between them melting like sugar in warm tea. Something about him, his honesty, the tired humor in his eyes, the way he looked at his daughters like they were his whole world, softened something inside her she hadn't realized was still guarded. The waiter arrived, smiling knowingly. "Shall I bring an extra chair, or maybe 3? Ethan chuckled. "Better make it 3, he said. As they settled around the table, Lena caught his gaze again. For a moment, neither of them spoke. There was just quiet understanding, an unspoken apology, a shared amusement, and maybe the spark of something that didn't need words yet. Outside, the rain began to fall softly against the cafe windows, the kind of rain that didn't feel lonely anymore. By the time dessert arrived, the little corner table that once felt painfully empty had transformed into a scene of gentle chaos and laughter. Crayons were scattered everywhere. Napkins had turned into makeshift coloring sheets, and Lena's once nervous smile had melted into genuine joy. One of the girls was drawing what looked like a cat, another insisted it was a dragon, and the third was more interested in doodling tiny hearts all over the paper. Ethan watched them from across the table, his chin resting lightly in his palm, a small smile tugging at his lips. He looked tired, the kind of tired that came from long days and sleepless nights, but beneath that weariness was warmth. His eyes softened every time Lena laughed, as if her laughter eased something heavy inside him. Lena had surprised herself too. She had come here expecting silence, small talk, maybe another awkward end to a blind date. Instead, she found herself teaching 3 little girls how to mix the perfect color pink with crayons and wiping chocolate smudges from their cheeks. Every few minutes, she'd catch Ethan watching her, never intrusively, just quietly, with gratitude that didn't need to be spoken. The waiter brought slices of cheesecake for everyone, complete with a few extra cherries for the girls. They squealed in delight, thanking him with sticky fingers and shy smiles. Ethan chuckled. "You'd think they'd never had dessert before," he said softly. Lena smiled back. "It's not about the dessert," she replied. "It's about the company." He looked at her then, really looked at her, and something unspoken passed between them. Understanding, curiosity, maybe even hope. As the evening stretched on, the girls began to grow sleepy, their energy fading into gentle yawns and droopy eyes. The one with the pink ribbons leaned against Lena's arm, holding up her latest masterpiece, a crayon heart drawn unevenly across a napkin. "This is for you," she whispered proudly. "Because Daddy smiles more when you're here." Lena's heart clenched, warmth blooming deep in her chest. She blinked quickly, feeling tears threaten but refusing to let them fall. She smiled instead, tracing the little heart with her fingertip. Ethan looked at her then, his voice low and honest. "They're right, you know." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The cafe lights glowed softly around them, the rain still whispering against the windows. Lena realized then, it wasn't the date she'd expected, but maybe it was exactly the one she needed. Maybe fate's idea of love wasn't about perfect timing or flawless plans. Maybe it was about 3 giggling girls, a late apology, and a man who made an empty evening feel full again.